If a driver sees an animal on the roadway, A. No special action is required. B. The driver should honk their horn. C. The driver should pass the animal as closely as possible. D. The driver should be very cautious. At an intersection with a yield sign, you A. must yield the right-of-way to cross traffic that is close enough to cause conflict. B. Must yield to vehicles only on your right. C. Should slow down but never stop. A. Must yield the right-of-way to cross traffic that is close enough to cause conflict. When approaching a yield sign, drivers must give the right-of-way to traffic already in the lanes that they intend to enter or cross. Drivers should be prepared to stop when approaching a yield sign but may continue without stopping if there is no conflicting traffic. When driving to an unfamiliar area, you A. should depend on road signs to find your way. B. should plan your trip in advance. C. only have to know generally where your destination is. D. should always choose the most direct route. B. should plan your trip in advance. When driving to an unfamiliar area, plan your trip in advance. Don't start with only a hazy idea of where you are going. If your destination is in an unfamiliar area, check the location on a map before you start to drive. When involved in a collision, you should A. move the injured as far away from the road as possible. B. move the injured to their desired location. C. insist the injured are fine without immediate medical attention. D. avoid moving the injured yourself unless absolutely necessary. D. avoid moving the injured yourself unless absolutely necessary. It is dangerous to move injured persons. You should avoid moving the injured unless it is absolutely necessary to remove them from areas threatened by fire or other dangers common to a crash scene. Keep the injured lying or sitting down until competent medical aid arrives.
Want to ace your DMV test? Click on the link below and get your guaranteed cheat sheet.
This road sign means A. Road construction ahead. B. The road ahead curves left, then right. C. The road ahead curves right, then left. D. Steep grade ahead. C. The road ahead curves right, then left. This sign indicates that the road ahead curves to the right and then to the left. You should slow down to be able to negotiate these curves safely. Broken yellow lines are used on streets and highways to A. indicate no passing zones. B. separate lanes of traffic moving in the same direction. C. separate lanes of traffic moving in opposite directions. C. separate lanes of traffic moving in opposite directions. Yellow lines separate traffic moving in opposite directions. Dashed lines on the pavement indicate that passing is permitted when safe. When making a right turn, you should not A. signal to other drivers. B. turn too wide for your lane. C. slow down. B. turn too wide for your lane. When turning right, you should begin to slow down and activate your turn signal at least 100 feet before making the turn. Be careful not to turn too wide for your lane, as this may interfere with other vehicles. A driver who is taking a non-prescription drug should A. read the labels on the drug before driving. B. drink alcohol instead. C. Continue to drive regardless of any warning labels. D. Drive only during daylight hours. A. Read the labels on the drug before driving. Many over-the-counter medications can affect your ability to drive safely. If you take medication, even a remedy for colds or allergies that is not prescribed, check the label for warnings about its effects. If you are unsure, ask your doctor or pharmacist about driving while on the medication. If you are about to be hit from the rear, you should not A. Release your seat belt. B. Brace yourself. C. Press your head against the head restraint. A. Release your seat belt. If your vehicle is hit from the rear while you are in forward motion, your body will be thrown backward. Brace yourself by pressing against the back of your seat and putting your head against the head restraint to prevent whiplash. Maintain a firm grip on the steering wheel and be ready to apply your brakes to avoid being pushed into another vehicle. Fines for moving traffic violations in construction and maintenance zones are A. Lessened. B. Doubled. C. Non-existent. D. Unchanged. B. Doubled. In Oklahoma, fines for all traffic violations occurring in a construction or maintenance zone are doubled if workers are present and warning signs are present in advance of the work zone. When arriving to an uncontrolled intersection at the same time as vehicles to your right and left, you should A. Yield the right-of-way to the vehicle on your left. B. Yield the right-of-way to the vehicle on your right. C. Wait until there are no vehicles at the intersection before proceeding. B. Yield the right-of-way to the vehicle on your right. If multiple vehicles arrive at the same time to an intersection that is not controlled by signs or signals, the driver on the right has the right-of-way. Drivers should then proceed in the order that they arrive to the intersection. This sign means A. No U-turn. B. No turning. C. No left turn. D. No right turn. A. No U-turn. This sign prohibits U-turns. Do not make a U-turn where this sign is posted. When you intend to back up, you should always check behind your car for bikes, tricycles, and small children before entering the car. A. True. B. False. A. True. When you intend to back up, always check behind your car for bikes, tricycles, and small children before you get into your car. This is an especially important practice for drivers of larger vehicles, such as vans and trucks. A broken yellow line beside a solid yellow line indicates that A. Passing is permitted from the lane next to the solid yellow line. B. Passing is not permitted from either direction. C. Passing is permitted from the lane next to the broken yellow line. C. Passing is permitted from the lane next to the broken yellow line. A broken yellow line alongside a solid yellow line means that traffic in the lane next to the broken line may cross the line to pass, while traffic in the lane next to the solid line may not. To help others see you when daylight begins to fade, you should use your A. Parking lights. B. Low beam headlights. C. Emergency flashers. B. Low beam headlights. As daylight begins to fade, turn on your low beams to help others see you. Only use your high-beam headlights in an open area where no other drivers are present. This road sign means A. Bicycle crossing. B. Stop only if other cars are approaching. C. Bicycle store. D. Soft shoulders. A. Bicycle crossing. This sign, with the arrow below, indicates the location of a bicycle crossing path. Drive with caution around this sign because bicycles likely regularly cross or ride beside traffic in the area. If it is necessary to make an emergency stop while driving on an interstate, you should A. Sound your horn at passing cars to get their attention. B. Get out of your vehicle and flag down the first vehicle that passes. C. Pull off the road, turn on your emergency flashers, and stay in your vehicle, if you can. C. Pull off the road, turn on your emergency flashers, and stay in your vehicle, if you can. If you must stop on the shoulder of the interstate or highway, turn on your emergency flashers to warn other drivers and stay inside your vehicle, if you can. The extremely high speed of traffic makes standing or walking along an interstate highway very dangerous. This sign means A. Slow down, curving road ahead. B. Slow down and do not use your brakes. C. Slow down, slippery when wet. C. Slow down, slippery when wet. This sign warns that the road ahead becomes slippery when wet. This white sign means you should not pass other vehicles. A. Until after you pass the sign. B. Unless it seems safe to do so. C. For any reason. C. For any reason. A white rectangular sign indicates that you must obey the stated rule. This sign means that drivers should not pass other vehicles for any reason. If your car begins to skid out of control, you should A. Pump the brakes. B. Apply the brakes lightly. C. Stay off the brakes. C. Stay off the brakes. If your vehicle begins to skid, stay off the brakes. Continue to correct your steering until the vehicle is back under your control and moving safely down the road.